Hey guys, so today we're going to go straight in and try and build a live stream app using Agora with Flutter Flow. I've received a lot of requests to do something like this, and today we're going to do it. But this is not going to be a long tutorial videos like my others. I've noticed that we don't really watch very long videos, so it's going to be under 15 minutes. Let's get into it. Now, on the screen you can see the live stream app that I worked on, and I'll also pause the video now so you can see the features of the live stream app. So it's a simple app. As you can see, I can stream and they can receive it. I can also click here. I can mute my call, share screen, switch camera, right? So for example, if I want to share my screen, you can see I can share my screen currently and these users can have access to my screen, as you can see. Then I can also choose to switch camera, right? And you can see that it's my, the back camera. The camera here is spot, but it's the back camera that is being displayed. Okay, so I want to make a note that both the live stream app and the I also have a voice call widget built in Agora, right? A voice call widget built in Agora, and both of them are selling as templates. So you can reach out to me via my email if you want to buy them as templates. It will include video guides on how to use them. If I need to help you with anything, you can also reach out to me via my email. So yeah, just check it out there. But one thing I want to tell you that is really cool right now is that you can build your UI experiences in Flutter. For example, now I want to build a voice call app, which we're talking about live stream. Don't worry, but I want to build a voice call app, and I know that I cannot build the feature out in Flutter Flow as a Flutter Flow developer. But the UI of how the user interacts with the voice call application, I can build it out in Flutter Flow. So what does that mean? It means that many times when we want to write our own custom widgets, we might want to add the UI elements in the custom code, and that can cause some problems, right? Why can it cause some problems? It can cause problems because we would have to make our code unnecessarily long. It's going to be too long, right? So what we can do is that we can design the UI inside of Flutter Flow, and because of the new feature that Flutter Flow has, I think it was earlier this year, where you can pass action parameters inside of your widget. So only on components, not on pages. When you create a component on Flutter Flow, you can actually pass actions into it. So what does that mean? It means that I can click on add parameter, go over here, and then click on action. So once I add an action, I can call those actions in my custom code. So let me show you the behind the scenes of how this works. So I'm going to go over to the live stream app. So this is the live stream application. As I was saying, you can build UI experiences and then call them inside your custom code. Now, I have a video detailing out how to build custom widgets inside of, because this is a custom widget. I have a detailed video on building out a custom widget with Flutter Flow for beginners, those that don't know how to code, have no coding experience at all, right? So that you can learn the basics of that and Flutter within a 5-hour window, so that you can be able to work with ChatGPT and all other AI services to build your own custom widgets for you, right? So that's that. Check out that video. I just recently released it. But anyways, you can see that for example, the header of my live stream application, I designed this in Flutter Flow, and then we have some parameters that I'm passing into the header to make the user interact with the features that Agora is going to give us for the video call, because we don't have video call features in Flutter Flow. So I have things like mute mic is an action, switch camera is an action, and then when the user taps on any of the elements inside of Flutter Flow, we do what you call an action callback, as you can see. So let me show you. For example, in this example here, I also created a widget called video call options. So it's another component. So what it does is that this other header, it brings up the components, right? It brings up the components, and when it brings up the components, it calls this video call option. So it pops up on the screen, and then the user can click on any of these options here. So it's also from here we're passing. So if you see, if I click here, you see that I'm passing parameters to the, for example, mute call. This video call option also has mute call too as an action parameter. So for example, let me click here and I'm passing as a parameter mute call, execute callback, right? Mute mic. So this execute callback, it's an action in Flutter Flow that you use to execute or to trigger an action that you're passing as a parameter. All right. So let me show you. Let me click here. Here you see execute callback. So I'm not sure why it's not allowing me to click on it. So sorry, it's just a bit. It's a bit weird that Flutter Flow is not allowing me to create a callback action within the callback of the video call options. It's just a bit weird. I think it's an error on their part, because it's possible to actually add it. As you can see, callback. It's not allowing me, saying that there are no actions, right? That if when I click on this, it's telling me that there are no actions, but it's wrong. As you can see, if you're having an issue like this, all I will do is I'll just click on maybe, and then I'll add another type of action on double tap, for example, and just say callback. Then you can choose the kind of action you want to call back. For example, let's say share screen, right? Then I can cut and I can copy or cut from here. Then I can go back to these video call options, go to mute call, go to click open, and then I can paste it. So you can see that it's possible to add it. Flutter Flow is just messing up over there. Anyways, yeah, so we have fixed, I've shown you how you can actually create your UI in Flutter Flow. You can do anything you want, and you can also use callback actions to add actions to your project that you can send from your code itself. So the code will create, you can create the functions in your code, your custom code, and send it to Flutter Flow. Like I said, if you don't know how to do any of these things, or you don't know how to code at all, and you want to just learn how to use ChatGPT, go and check out my tutorial to help you out a lot. So now, after understanding how to do this thing, we actually need to now build the widget, right? Now, to build the widgets, you can easily use ChatGPT. As you can see, I already have a screen where I prompted ChatGPT. I said, create a live streaming app with Flutter using Agora with one broadcaster and multiple audiences. And it's going to give you step by step on how to do it. Now, you're going to need an IDE so you can test out what ChatGPT does for you here, right? You need an IDE. So an IDE is just an environment, any kind of environment where you can write code in. And VS Code is one of the best IDEs you can use. But today I'm not using VS Code, I'm using Cursor AI. So check out Cursor AI. It's an amazing IDE that has AI capabilities to basically, if you click here, and it's free to download. It looks like VS Code. Please try it. You will love it. If you have ever tried VS Code before, you will love it. You can come here. You can ask it questions, right, when you need to. You can also hover over any part of your code, Command K, or on Windows, I don't know the command, but for Mac users it's Command K. And then you can give it an instruction on any part of your code and to fix it. And it has context of every file in your code, so you can know exactly what the error is. It's really cool. So if you're someone that doesn't want to do much of coding while building your Flutter Flow apps, try using Cursor as your IDE. Now, you need an IDE so you can test your apps and run them quickly to make sure everything is working perfectly. I won't rely on Flutter Flow alone. It's very important. For example, now you see that because I'm working with custom code, anything I'm doing that is custom code related, that is outside of what Flutter Flow has already created, you should not always trust that Flutter Flow might give you the best reporting. Or because for example, even the IDE that Flutter Flow gives you is not powerful enough to give you some features. If you check my tutorial, you understand what I'm saying. The 5-hour tutorial. All right. For example, you can see that they're giving me an error that the wake clock package I'm using. As you can see, wake clock is a package I use to keep my app awake, right? Yeah, see, they're telling me that's an error. So because of that, in Flutter Flow, I can't test this app anymore. But you can see that I downloaded the app this morning and I'm able to run it. It's working perfectly. And the wake clock package is not giving me any problems at all. Right? Although it's a package that has been discontinued, to, in all honesty, it's no longer in operation. So I need to upgrade it to this new package. All right? You can still ask ChatGPT to do things like this for you. Okay, so that's just the reason why I'm getting that error. But you can't really trust ChatGPT and Flutter Flow to report errors to you properly when you're working with custom widgets. So you need an IDE. Now, once you get your IDE, you can download your Flutter Flow code. Download your code. Once you download the code, you drop it in your IDE. You just drag and drop the file. Like for example, like this, you can, whatever file you have, I don't have a code related file right now. Just drag it and drop it. That's all. All right. Let's be inside Flutter Flow so that we can follow through and do it together. So I'll create a new project. I'll say live 2. All right. Create blank. So I'm going to skip all these steps. Still loading. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and we're going to create a new widget. This widget is going to be live 2. All right, that's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to add a dependency. Dependency is going to be the Agora RTC engine. Copy, paste, and for permissions handler in Flutter Flow, that's something I think is good that we actually just use Flutter Flow first. Permission handler is already used in Flutter Flow. It's already a package, sorry, that is in Flutter Flow. So let me just copy the boilerplate code, right? So save widget. So if you go over to settings, you see that project dependencies, you see that permission handler is already added in Flutter Flow. Although you cannot see it now, because Flutter Flow does something where it's only when you interact with a particular feature that the package will be added. So they don't add unnecessary packages. But these are the packages my project is using right now. So what I'm going to do is to make sure that this custom widget code is integrated properly. I'm going to come over here. Then I'm going to try and use the permission handler package in Flutter Flow. So I'm going to go to permissions. I need access to the camera, so I can easily just tap here and say camera access needed. All right. Then I also need access to the microphone. I can say microphone access needed. Okay, so once I do that, you can see that what I'm being asked to add is just camera and record audio. So microphone also encompasses both of that. Then here too is the same thing. So this enabling this in Flutter Flow already covers these things we are saying ChatGPT asks us to do. Now, if there's a permission that Flutter Flow does not automatically cover, you can easily just copy it like this. For Android, copy like this, Android of permission, click on add permission, then add the custom permission that you need. So you start from the Android of permission, then .camera or whatever. For iOS, you just copy this one, NS camera description, for example. Once you copy it, then you can write the reason why you want to work with the permission. So you can add it here to the permission message. So that's how you set up your custom permissions inside of Flutter Flow, but that's not needed right now. So I can just quickly skip over. Now I've set up the camera and microphone. Come over here. On the start of this page here, or as soon as the user loads this page, I can open, and on page load, I'm going to say I want to request permissions. Request permissions. So now requesting permissions will automatically add the permissions package inside of Flutter Flow. So paste action, microphone. Now once I've done that, you see that inside of Flutter Flow here, project dependency, the permission handler has been added. Permission handler. Okay, so after that, we know that our app is ready. Then we can try and download the code. Okay, so I've gotten the download here. I'm going to unzip it. We have it over here. I'm just going to drag it over this other project I was working on earlier because it's not necessary right now. I'm going to run Flutter pub get. So already telling me to do that. As you can see, this is Flutter Flow code here. Now, the most interesting aspects when you're trying to work on Flutter Flow is the custom code section. So I'm going to go to live 2 Dart. As you can see, this is what we did here. And it's time to start importing everything inside that we got from ChatGPT. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT here, and first thing we see that we need to import a permission. We need to import this. We don't need to use permission handler right now. We don't, but I'm just going to add it, right? Since we're already requesting permissions on the start of the screen, I'll add it. On your own, you can remove it. You can choose to disregard it, right? So I've added these two packages. Now, I did not need to add permission handler over here anymore because I already have permission handler in Flutterflow already. So we don't need to do that. If not, you have errors, all right? Now, once we've done that, if you see Flutter material, that is already imported by Flutterflow automatically. So we don't need to also add what ChatGPT is giving to us. Now, we see that we need some information of what remote UID and is broadcaster, so we can copy this. I'm going to come over here and paste this. Then we also see that we need an init state to initialize Agora. So we'll copy everything plus the code to initialize Agora. Now, this is something you're going to notice no matter what, ChatGPT is going to generate the same code for you. You're going to have to initialize Agora. So it might be a different method, but yes, you have to initialize the engine. If you read the documentation, you see that it's important. All right. So now the thing is that we need an Agora app ID. All right. So I'm going to quickly set up another file in this Flutterflow project here where I'm going to handle all of my IDs, right? So that you don't have to see it. So, but I'm going to show you how I'm setting it up. I'm going to say something like new file. Now, when I go back to Flutterflow, it's not going to exist in Flutterflow at all. It's not. Or I can easily do this also. I can quickly go to Flutterflow and I can create what you call constant. I can create a constant, and that constant can hold the configuration for the project. And when I create a constant, there's a way to call it in my code. So I think I'll create a constant, you know. To create a constant, we just say app ID. So we know we need app ID. So just note that anytime I need something else in Flutterflow, I've already created a constant for it. So this is where I'm creating. So I'm going to pre-fill these fields with everything I need to make this app work, so that you don't get to see my secret keys. Okay guys, so yeah, I've initialized the project. We downloaded the code and I've added the app constant, the constant values. As you can see, it's Flutterflow is showing it up right now. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the custom code section so that we can actually call those custom values into our application live stream, as you can see here. We have this app ID here. So to call the app ID, we are going to, what we're going to do is this. We just say ff app, you see constant, as you can see. So that this you see this autocomplete is part of what Cursor does for me. Automatically knows what I want to type next most times, and it's really cool. So I have called the app ID I created as a constant inside of Flutterflow, and that's how you can call it, you know, constant you create in Flutterflow. All right. So I've called the app ID. Then we go over here, and another thing that you're going to see ChatGPT do for you is something you call event register handlers, right? So this RTC event handlers is how you can handle different events that happen in your app. For example, a user just joins, then the Agora package is going to distribute what you call a notification. It's like a notification within the app that tells you when something new has happened in the app, so you can easily do something. So for example, did the user just leave the app? Did the user just join the app? What do you want to do? Do you want to tell other users, or do you want to notify them? So for example, right now we're just printing that a user just joined. We're printing it on the screen, right? That's what we're doing. But if you want to, for example, let's say this is a crazy example, but if another user joins, you want to mute another user, you can then activate a mute action here. So you can do anything you want. You can see we're performing actions here. So it's just a way to perform actions when something happens. That Agora is a method that Agora gives to you. There's a lot you can do here, right? There's a whole lot. So if you read the documentation, there's more things to do. It's not just these little things, but ChatGPT is just giving us a simple implementation for our simple live stream app right now. Okay, so the next thing is join channel. So I'm going to click here, then leave channel. Then we're going to copy these two functions and add them here. Okay, so as you can see, there's an error here. It says the name parameter role is required, but there's no responding arguments. Try adding the required argument. So, like I said, please check my video if you're a newbie. But what is needed right now is that there's a name parameter before declaring these two arguments, and I think ChatGPT did not recognize it. This is why I said you cannot just copy ChatGPT code and put inside Flutter Flow. You will have errors. You need to debug it here first. Okay. So come over here. I'm going to have to put role. Right. That's it. So the error has been cleared. Then the argument cannot be null. Right. So token. There must be a token. All right. So for that token, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say ff constant dot token. Okay, yeah. So this is it here. So I think we've done these configurations already. Now the default channel name is test. The token is this is also a default token. So let me explain something to you quickly. Now, like I said earlier, I hope I said earlier, you have to have an Agora dashboard, and there's a documentation from Agora on all the things you need to use for your Agora video call or interactive live streaming to work. So for example, it's showing me exactly where I can copy all the things I need. For example, you need an app ID, which I did earlier. You need a primary certificate. Right now, this primary certificate is for generating what you call a token. Now, this token should be generated on a server, right, on your server. But that's a lot of words right now you might not understand. But what does that mean? It means that if you're using Firebase, the easiest way to do it is you're going to create what you call a cloud function to automatically generate the token for you on the server. Now, that's not hard. It comes with a template I'm going to give out if you want it. But maybe in the future, if I have a lot of comments about it, I can create a cloud function video tutorial using ChatGPT, because you can use ChatGPT to generate cloud functions. But the code is going to be in TypeScript or JavaScript. All right. Yeah. So let's come back here. For now, when you're just testing, instead of trying to go through all those hassles, you can quickly generate a temporary token, right? So right now I have my app ID and then my app certificate set, right? So I can quickly click on generate. And when I generate, I have a temporary token that I can use in my application. All right. So I can copy and paste it in my application and then use it anywhere I want. So I'm going to go to the constant folder here and paste the token here, right? That's fine. So I can come back to the application itself, the live tool, and here we know we're already referencing the token. So you see token is optional for testing, but that's not true. All right. Let's see. So we have the widget to show the views. This is also something that Agora will give us access to. So I'm going to just paste them here. Once we are done with that, I think this is render local view and remote view. You can ask ChatGPT more information about any of these things that it's doing and to teach you about it if you want to learn. This is just a quick implementation. Then we want to return. I'm not going to return material app. This is unnecessary. Material app is a configuration that you do when you're starting your app for the first time. Another configuration is the main app here. This main app function is something that you need to do when you're just starting your app for the first time. But you know that Flutter Flow has already done all those configurations for us, so we don't need to do any of that. So I'm going to go back to the live tool that. Okay, so render remote view. All right. Now, like I said, main material app is not something we need to add, right? But we can start from scaffold. We can actually start from scaffold. So you can just copy down from scaffold and come over to this section here. Then you can come over here and then paste here. but we need to remove this comma here. So once we've done this, we know everything is working. All right, and we can go to the home page, right? Home page widget, and in that home page widget, we should call. So right now we have a child column. Sorry, but let me delete the child column. Yeah, then we can call the live 2. All right, it automatically imports the package that we need for it, or is, as you can see, live 2 custom code widgets. This is what we need to do. So once we import it like this, we'll save, and then we can try and run the app. So I'm going to try and run the app. Let me open up an iOS simulator, and once I run the app, then we'll see whether it works. Okay guys, so okay, let me drag my screen here properly. So I have tested the application and everything is working right now, but let me try and walk you through the progression, because I had to work on some debugging outside of this video so that we can, but everything I did is in ChatGPT, so you can see the progression. Firstly, I noticed that when I'll click on the start broadcasting button, right, it wasn't enabling the camera. That was my first major problem, wasn't enabling camera. But I will notice that if I check the debug console, I actually saw a print of a local user join from Agora. And if you see that something like that, it means that it's actually working. That's what it means. So let me show you what I did. Firstly, I said add a try catch to all major functions for login. So anytime you ask ChatGPT to do this, it means you're asking it to wrap all the functions in a try catch, but because the former code it wrote for me did not have a try catch block. All of them, there was no try catch block. And if you watch my video for beginners, the 5-hour video, you see that a try catch block is a method to just try and to catch an error. Because just doing it like this, we're not really checking whether we're not assuming that there might be errors with our function to stop the errors from causing issues in our app. So I asked to wrap everything in a try catch. So I copied and pasted the entire code into it again. The reason why I did that was that Flutter Flow has this format that ChatGPT did not follow. Remember, we had to copy and paste it according to our own standard without the main.dat code and all those things. So I just did it so that you can remember the context of how the code should look. So I don't have to keep redoing it again and again and again. So after I did that, it wrapped all the major functions in a try-catch block, as you can see, with print logs, so print on the screen. Then I tested it again, and it says, and I said wrap the buttons, put the buttons in wrap widget, because we noticed before the buttons were extending to the screen, right? So put the buttons in a wrap widget. Note that the design of the app is not your business. We're not looking at design right now, because you can redesign how it looks inside of Flutter Flow itself with no code, and then wrap it around the widget, so that there's no issue there. All you just need to do is just focus on the functionality that you need. All right, so then the next issue I had, so after I told you to wrap the buttons in a wrap widget is going to make sure that all the buttons, if there's no extra space, to make the next button on to follow under the, like this, as you can see, there's another button to make another space for it here. I'm sure you should know how a wrap widget works. After doing that, I said after the broadcaster joins, this video is not published. It's just waiting, shows waiting for the broadcaster. So you can keep asking ChatGPT questions like this, and you can paste the code back if you want for context, and to keep giving you the fixes. You can just keep giving the fixes until you get what you want, right? So this is a simple way to do without writing code yourself. So I just copied what it told me to do, and I went to the join channel section, and I copied and I pasted it here. Now there's an extension I'll recommend that can help you while you're doing most of this work, right? That extension, I think I spoke about it in my video, my 5-hour class. So that extension tells me where the end of all these brackets are. For example, I can see that this bracket is for the join channels, function. so that when I'm trying to copy and paste my code back from ChatGPT, I don't have to try and memorize where the end of the bracket is, so I don't make errors. So this can help you as a beginner. Okay, so now as soon as I did all of those prompting in ChatGPT quickly, I have my live stream app now. This is on an Android, and I can click on start broadcasting. As you can see, I'm broadcasting voice, right? But okay, right now it's not broadcasting my video. So let me try and leave channel. So you see it has stopped. Let me try to stop the. This was how the buttons were before. I have to stop running it on the iOS simulator and try and run it on the Android simulator. Okay, so I'm going to main.dat, click here, run on the Pixel, then run. So once it runs here, I'll show you that it's actually working. So the way it did it was that you can have multiple broadcasters, so it's separating the screen. That's the way it was designed. So you can keep prompting ChatGPT to design it the way you want, all the features that you want. Then when it's time, you can copy and convert the code into Flutter Flow, where you can call UI elements that you design inside of Flutter Flow, right, inside of your application to extend the functionality using the action parameters. Now I'm not going to show you exactly how I'm doing that. I just want to show you how you can generate the code yourself. All right. If you watch my tutorial, I'll show you how I did that there. All right. Let's just make sure that this is launching or working right now. So I believe it's working right now. Let's click on start broadcasting. As you can see, I'm actually broadcasting video. Now on iOS, video doesn't work. It's not allowed on iOS simulators. That's why I had to use an Android simulator. Okay. So right now it's waiting for another broadcaster to join. So you can keep prompting it to try and make sure it works the way you want it to work. There's also the option to join as an audience. Once I join as an audience, I'm waiting for the broadcaster to launch and join. Okay, so this is just a basic implementation of it. All right, very, very basic. But this was the way I was able to do it. So you can just keep prompting ChatGPT till you get exactly what you want, right? And when you get exactly what you want, you will be able to now redesign it and then add all the functionality UI-wise, extend it to the UI elements you've designed in Flutter Flow, and you have your widget. So that's exactly how I was able to build the live stream app I built over here. This live stream app, just added some extra configurations. I also added sharing screen functionality to it, but I did not use ChatGPT for that. I had to study documentation myself because the documentation is poor and ChatGPT doesn't have much information about sharing screen because it's a recent thing that was added, right? So this is the functionality here, right? Screen sharing, start screen sharing. So everything is extended here. Now for iOS, there are some extra configurations you need to do for screen sharing. Works on iOS, but on Android, screen sharing works out of the box, right? With Agora. Then when you are ready to launch your Agora live stream application after you have done everything, you will notice that sometimes on real iOS devices it does not work. Now I cannot remember where I saw the article because it was really hard to find the solution to it. It does not mean that your code is not working. If it runs on Android, it will work on iOS. But the issue might stem from what we call the global stripping symbols, right? So let me see. What you do is you open your app on your IDE, then you go over to the iOS folder, double tap on it or right click, then open in Xcode. So this is another live stream app from this one I built, not the one we just did right now in this tutorial. So once you open Xcode, go to the runner. I believe it's build settings, right? Think you write global. So strip style, right? Then click on non-global symbols. Now, I would try to look for the guide. It was not really a guide. It was just a question on GitHub or Stack Overflow, one of those two, that someone asked. Now, that was the only solution I could find on this matter. and the person recommended this. So I'll check if there's any step I'm missing. But if you're having an issue of it not working on iOS, just come over here and update it. Now, for anybody who gets the template from me, don't worry, I have a video ready for you on how to do all of this to guide you. But this also should guide you. Just update it to non-global symbols. But the only issue is that it means that if you need to do this configuration, that's all you need to do for it to work on iOS. And it's because iOS, when you're trying to work on your applications and launch it to the stores, sometimes it will try and remove or strip some certain parts of your code to reduce the size of the app, right? And you setting it this way is going to make sure that some elements that are needed for Agora are not stripped away when you're launching or building your iOS app. So that's why you need to do this. But the issue here is that if you do this, you cannot launch your app through Flutter Flow for iOS stores. You can't. So where you come over here, mobile deployment, you can't actually launch it to the App Store anymore. So you will need to do it manually. And the way I did it in a way that would help non-coders, right? Because those that don't really want to do much of coding, you might be scared, okay, I don't want to launch my apps anywhere else apart from Flutter Flow. But you are going to come into this across this issue many times when you want to add extra functionality to your Flutter Flow apps that you might not be able to do everything inside of Flutter Flow. So the way you can launch your app to the app stores and play stores, you can also use what Flutter Flow uses. It's called Code Magic. So Code Magic is a really helpful tool. Code Magic. So just go to Code Magic. You can create an account. They have a lot of tutorials on how to use it. Right. Once you create your Code Magic account, you can actually launch or send your application from Flutter Flow. Right. You can send it to a GitHub repo. Flutter Flow has documentation on how to do it. Send it to a GitHub repo. It can be a private GitHub repo. And once you do it, you can use the GitHub repo to send your app to the Play Store or App Stores through Code Magic after you've done the extra configuration, and everything is going to work for you. So if you have separate questions for that, you can ask me down below and I'll try and help you out. But yeah, this is the way you can build a simple live stream app with Flutter Flow.